When we're on the set here at TechKnow, we really have a lot of control over all aspects of the studio shoot. Just about any camera is gonna shoot a pretty good image here. But not all styles of shooting have the luxury of lighting, in which case the behavior of the camera under ambient lighting conditions becomes extremely important. In this episode, we're going to look at the factors that determine the low light performance of a camera, and how that is measured and reported by the major manufacturers. The sensitive subject of lux, light, and image quality is next on TechKnow. The low light performance of a camera is relatively unimportant for cameras used in controlled studio settings. For some styles of shooting, however, the low light performance of a camera is not just important, it's critical. Wedding banquets, dance recitals, and event videography in general often require cameras with decent low light capabilities. Electronic news gathering, video journalists, and documentary shooters also need sensitive cameras as well. And the largest group of camcorder users, the home video enthusiasts, also typically shoot run-and-gun documentary-style videos under ambient indoor lights. The minimum illumination needed to produce a satisfactory image is listed on a camera's spec sheet in terms of lux, which raises two questions. One, what's a lux? And two, how do we measure it? The second of these questions is actually easier to answer. We measure lux with a calibrated light meter. The lux is a standardized international unit used to describe the intensity of illumination, with wavelengths weighted according to a model of the human perception of brightness. 1 lux equals 1 lumen per square meter, where 4 pi lumens is the total luminous flux of a light source of 1 candela of luminous intensity. Whatever that means. In English, a lux is roughly the amount of light cast on a surface by a candle placed 1 meter away. Or in American English, 1 lux is 1/11th of a foot candle. The primary factor that determines any optical instrument's low light characteristics is the size of the objective lens. Large glass up front means more light getting through to the imaging sensor, which is also an important variable. Again, a large sensor is generally more sensitive than a smaller one, and the 3 2/3 inch CCDs in a big professional camera can potentially soak up more light than the 1/6 inch sensor in a smaller consumer model. There isn't a strict correspondence between size and sensitivity, however, and sophisticated improvements in technology and pixel density can result in chips that are both smaller and more sensitive. Final factor that complicates the picture here is the electronic sensitivity of the imaging chip itself, which is set at the factory, but can also commonly be adjusted by the end user. The gain control on many cameras starts at a baseline of 0 and can range from as much as plus or minus 18 decibels. A plus 18 decibel increase dramatically increases the sensitivity of the imager, not just to signal, but also to the inevitable random noise inherent in all electronic systems. Camcorder manufacturers typically specify a minimum illumination, measured in lux of course, needed to produce a satisfactory image. The difficulty of defining exactly what is a satisfactory image makes lux ratings rather subjective, however, even though all of the major manufacturers follow the procedures published in 1996 in the EIA 639 standard for measuring lux. Unfortunately, this standard's already a bit of a relic since it was only intended for NTSC cameras. Let's look at a real-world example of why this is so problematic. The new Sony HDR SR7 is rated by Sony at 2 lux, which is a better rating than the 3 lux Panasonic cites for its HVX200. I can personally tell you from personal experience that the HVX200's low light performance eclipses that of the HDR SR7. Lux ratings should not be used as some sort of objective absolute measure of a camera's ability to produce a beautiful image under ambient low light conditions. And it's also important to keep in mind that not all styles of shooting require above average low light performance. For example, ignoring the manufacturer-reported lux ratings, the Panasonic HVX200 is better in low ambient light than the Sony HDR-SR7. But when properly lit, both cameras might produce a decent image that's suitable for DVD video disc or distribution on the web. There are so many factors that can contribute to what might subjectively be described as a beautiful image, that simple resolution numbers and lux ratings cannot be the only reason for purchasing a particular camera. The best way to learn about a camera is to try it out yourself under typical shooting conditions. And listen to your peers. If you're a wedding shooter, for example, get involved with the local and online professional community and listen to what these groups have to say. Or drop by Digital Juice's community forums, where you'll find no shortage of opinions and quite a bit of real-world experience and expertise.